Here I am, Leon C., aka Morpheus. You are now listening to the Academy of Wow Men. And here today, I have another special lesson for you. And I got more evidence for you. It's going to be very short and sweet, but I am going to expand on this lesson for the next maybe week and a half. But I'm going to bundle some of them up here. I'm going to let you look at the evidence, and then we're going to go on to it later. Since this is the Academy of Wow Men, and I am your professor here, my task is to teach you something that you didn't know before, or you've known about it but didn't get it broken down like I'm going to break it down today. And it's segments. And the reason here is, I'm going to tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, because I understand something that you may not understand, because it's clear that you're not doing anything about your future. I'm gonna just be frank with you today. I'm gonna tell you like it is, and I'm not gonna hold back, because it's been a long time coming. I have about 300 and something videos for you. I've been doing this for a while, and this isn't, as I've explained before, it's not for clout. It's for helping you, to warn you. If you look at the description of Morpheus, if you look it up in, I think, the Webster's Dictionary or something like that, then maybe the Wikipedia, it'll tell you about what Morpheus is like. And I think it's along the lines where Morpheus was a messenger that came to people in their sleep. Something around that vicinity. And we are sleeping people, and I am here to speak to you and to wake you up. We're in trouble. Now, I'm not going to say we're in trouble, but I'm going to say you are in trouble, because I see it coming already, and have thus made plans as it is. And it starts with your children. And what I mean is this. It's called history and facts. How you've been destroyed is by making you forget the way that the world truly operates, making you forget how nature is really real and it must be respected, by making you forget the true definitions of words, by making you forget what real family is, by making you forget what love is, by making you forget what reality is. And also, the ultimate thing is making you forget your very own humanity. So how it's done is, one generation is modified to forget, meaning languages and the way the world works, they begin to encroach on your mindset and your freedoms. And then the next generation, they continue to ramp it up, because that previous generation actually succeeded in forgetting. And how you do that is through weak people, through weak parents, through unfortunately broken homes where the father is not present. And therefore, there's no teaching or proper rearing of each individual adolescent, or in this case, child. And that child grows up and begin to continue the process of not implementing the qualities or reality or the things that used to be in work according to their own knowledge, because they don't know based on the previous generation. So therefore, this continual programming of forgetting, or the encroachment of your mind, will ultimately leave that current, which is today, human, to not understand what happened 10, 20, 30, or maybe 40 years ago. Even worse if that person is 12 years old today, or in some cases 19 years old. And therefore, the words that used to be, or the way that these societies to operate, is considered as old school, or is considered as weak, or I guess I just said it, old. It's not cool. It's not in the swing of things anymore. And this is also due to the programming of the commercials and advertisement, always selling you something that's fast-paced, meaning the new iPhone, the new computer, the new robot, the new car. Because you got to remember, here's the thing. Remember. It would take at least 2 years to develop the next generation of a product on a typical basis, or the new brand of a car, or the new phone, or a new innovation. But because of the demands of money, infrastructure, corporations, and trying to bring taxes back into your flow, now if you notice, the competition is creating and are pushing corporations, jobs, places, or things to produce items that are new practically yearly. So what was new in 1 year, next year it's no longer new, or is considered the old thing, or is considered not so cool, or it doesn't get its credit points because it's considered old school, or past date, or out of date. And speaking of out of date, we have this so-called update on your computers as well. See, it expands to, I'm not going to get into it, but it expands to just about everything that you're doing. In order for you to be manipulated and socially engineered, this program have to be in everything that you do. So just like the computer systems or some of your phones have to be updated every now and then, where you get the latest app update or the latest security update, and the list goes on. And you, as a consumer, are in most cases, don't take it personally when I say this, but as the idiot, don't comprehend that you're being programmed into one direction, or you could say into one funnel. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give you my disclaimer that I have nothing against Tesla. I have nothing against a person who's trying to create a product to make your life a little easier. Okay? I have nothing against making money, because I understand that there is money to be made. So I'm not here going against anybody or their ideas if it is made for what's right. But you got to understand that what I talk about is the subject, not the person. I do nothing to bring rhetoric or to bring any negativity towards any company or any specific person personally. If I ever bring up any person, it's to talk about the subject that the person is talking about, not them personally, because I don't know them personally. And even if I did, I wouldn't put them on blast. However, unless, of course, it's for a lesson, because there's been plenty of people that I had to talk about that I know personally, just for a lesson to help you, the listeners who are involved. Now, everything that I'm just getting ready to discuss is in my book. It's called 2020 America Rise or Fall Hard. I've spoken about this a long time ago. I've been speaking about this for a long time now. And not enough of you are getting it because you're asleep. And life is for the living. If you want to pass away, it's your choice. I'm going to speak to you. I'm not God. This is pretend for right now. Let's pretend that I am God. Okay? And I'm talking to you, you human being. I am going to ask you a question, and I'm going to tell you directly. You have free will. You was brought into existence. It's up to you if you want to live or you want to go extinct. Now, we'll be honest with you, you and your race of humanity will not completely go extinct. You will survive, but you won't survive as normal, natural, and healthy like you once did several years ago or in the earlier years of your human development. Now, I can support that, and I'm going to back it up. Because you specifically, or you could say the majority of people, not all, you're not paying attention to what's going on in your world. You're not paying attention to what they're doing to you. You're not. And frankly, you don't care because you're too busy in your dumb phone. You're too busy watching Netflix. You're too busy with your everyday struggle. You're too busy confused. You're too busy thinking that everybody's out to get you. You're too busy thinking that Morpheus doesn't know what he's talking about. And so you're not getting a big picture. And that's the downfall of humanity. The downfall of humanity is that you just simply don't think. Your world has been attacked for so many years now, and so much has been covered up or covering up in the name of infrastructure, money, and resources that you halfway understand what's going on to your own personal planet. And you see it on the news every day. You see the floods. You see the forest fires. You see the earthquakes. You see the sinkholes. You see what's been happening in Florida. You see the topsy-turvy of the weather. You see these things, but yet you refuse to do anything about it. You rather sit and let the world or other people's systems and infrastructures destroy your earth and leave you and your consistency in oblivion. And they do have a thing where they're saying scientists are trying to say that the earth isn't going to last forever or have a limited time or a limited lifespan. Well, the problem is, I explain this a lot of times, that you can extend your life. It doesn't have to be soon. It can be much, much later in the thousands of years. But what y'all do, with the majority don't care about, is you siphon your own life. You destroy yourself. You self-terminate your existence. See, the scientists are trying to explain the lifespan of the earth, but yet they're supporting the deliberation, or you could say they are supporting the encroachment of destruction and death upon your own earth. They're supporting it, and you're supporting it. You put taxes on it. You watch the space explorations. You watch how they dig up the earth to get the resources, the oils, the diamonds, the golds, the metals, and to make your skyscrapers and your warehouses. You watch it, and you sit and you do nothing. You do nothing. And then what's funny about it, just to add this tidbit in it, a lot of you who are maybe in the hundreds, maybe millions, are supposed to be Christians and loyal religious people to God. But yet you can't even protect nor keep the earth that God gave you. But yet you have the nerve, you have the gallbladder, you have the backside to ask God to give you a heaven or some eternal life to go to. But you don't even appreciate the land that he have already gave you to appreciate or to work for. But you think sitting down and being a non-adjutant to the negative, sitting down and just letting things be, as in them destroying your world, the infrastructure, the system, your program, society, to destroy your world means nothing to you, or it's going to grant you a door to heaven because you're not doing anything about it. When how can God give you eternal life or another world and our heaven, but you're not even fighting for earth? Why would God give you a heaven if you're not fighting for earth? Let me repeat myself, because some of you are dumb and you're in kindergarten and you don't think because you still got your sucker in your mouth, maybe even something else in your tailpipe. You would rather watch your world get destroyed but yet you do nothing about it, and you claim to think that you are in the light or in line to be accepted to earn a heaven that you did nothing to earn, you did nothing to fight for, but just believe and accept the doctrination that the church pimps have given unto you. Let that sink in for a moment. You don't deserve a heaven if you're not fighting for earth. Do I make myself clear? But yet you think you do, because presently they're destroying just that. Now, I got some evidence for you, and it's only a certain amount of time where these evidences arise, where most people who probably read my book, That All's Full of BS. Most people who first heard my channel, or maybe even you, thought I didn't know what I was talking about. This was predicted years ago because I watch human nature. I watch your activities. I know how dumb you can be on the most cases. All I got to do is just watch you and learn. And say, well, there's another idiot going down. And there's always reasons why you go down. Like they say in safety classes, usually 90% of deaths can be avoided and are prevented if you simply think. If you simply watch out for the signs. But a lot of you are asleep and you're needing Leon C. Morpheus. See, I'm not going to explain to you everything in the book, but I'm going to give you these descriptions. Don't look at it now until after this video. Okay? There's several videos in my description box that you need to look at. It's not going to take you forever. I'm not going to take all your day and time. It's maybe going to be less than 5 minutes, okay? Because I know that you have a short attention span, and a lot of us adults, we are kids. So I got to appease to your short mind and very low IQ levels. So you can handle it. I'm sure it's not difficult to understand. Okay? So on the video, it shows a Tesla, which is an electric car. It's not against Tesla. I told you I don't go against companies and corporations. I'm just talking about the particular product. I've explained these things in my book, how dangerous it is, where there's been multiple electric vehicles in your country and around your towns, and buses as well, who is electric, which have been going up in flames regardless of what you do. You've done nothing, and it catches on fire, ladies and gentlemen. It catches on fire. Fire is a very bad and destructive element, and a power that must be respected. I've explained this to you multiple times that this is not a good idea, but you still want to play with these sort of toys and think it's good for you. So the video down there is showing you a Tesla car, or let's just say an electric car, because I respect Elon Musk, okay? I like the guy, I really do. But the electrical industry and us trying to put in robots and automatic systems isn't good for humanity, because now we're going against nature, and nature is going to bite back, and it bites back in a hard way. I know how batteries operate. I know how it works. I know about the electrical system. I'm not going to tell you everything about myself. I'm smart enough to understand how it works. And if you got to put so much voltage and power into this battery to retain itself, or to maintain a certain level of power on a consistent basis, or you can say a flow or voltage, current, a lot of times this material is not capable of containing that, or it will break down over time because it's very toxic. It's very corrosive in most cases. And I understand that a lot of you idiots, you will consistently try to debate with me and say, well, it's just like the beginning of the automobile. When they first made the gasoline automobile, it wasn't always perfect. It would catch on fire too. And sometimes it would explode. and there were always malfunctions. I get it. I'm not dumb. This isn't my first rodeo. You're not talking to a child. You're talking to a grown man over here. I'm a professor, and I can probably run circles around you, so I suggest you shut up and listen. You don't have to explain that in the comment box. I know it quite well. But how many lives have been lost in the production of the automobile, and now we're switching over to something else? That's the key right there. How many people have been destroyed? How many times that the gasoline automobile have deleted someone's existence, and our family and our child and our grandparents who are no longer here? And I've told you before, a life to me means a lot. When someone loses their life, I get pissed off. It hurts me. I don't like it at all. It really hurts. And you mean to tell me that this person's life is worth trying to develop a machine that's going to eventually be passed off to something else, or eventually might take even extra lives and other people's lives in the production? So it's okay because it's a, what do you call that? The lives are expendable. Is that what you're telling me? You're telling me that they're just they're part of the project. You're telling me that 1,000 lives that are lost in the production of electric vehicles is it's just part of its growth? So are you telling me that let's be raw and real here, because it happened. You mean tell me that children who have lost their lives in the production of technology and computers, and or you could say years ago with the production of the gasoline engine, you mean to tell me that you could sit here and say that they were just a liability? Is that what you're saying? They're just a part of the research and development, and they're no longer here in the name of this discovery or this new technology? No, basically what you're saying is that their life is insignificant and is not important compared to creating a new industry of electric cars or robots. That's what you're saying. But yet you can never get this life back. So you're a cold-hearted tyrant. What you're saying, if you're coming at me that way with that type of idea or mindset, what you're telling me is that you don't care about what lives are lost. You just care about the production, the money, and the industry that you're trying to bring into the flow. That's what you care about. The lives are they're just a aftermath. They're just a result of the growth. As a matter of fact, these aren't experiments, because y'all should know by now with the extensive technology that is available, with all the computers that can do its data logging and saving information and being able to build a product with very, very low chance of casualties. That's the word I was looking for. Very, very low chance of casualties. You mean to tell me that it is okay to say that we are still experimenting at this time of human development? If you're that slow, you don't need to be on Earth. As a matter of fact, you don't deserve Earth. And I see why it's disappearing right underneath your raggedy boots. Because that's very stupid when humans have been here on Earth for a long time. There's no excuse for you not to know about the casualty percentage, or percentile, as I like to say. No, it's just that you continuously try to destroy nature. No, it's just that you continuously want to be ignorant. It's that, no, you don't care about lives. You don't care about the casualty. All you care about is your dollar bill. So what humans do, or what you love to do, is create failures just like yourself. And when you create failures just like yourself, underneath your creation, you destroy people. You destroy lives. You delete children with your technology. Because they're not showing you the ugly end of these electric cars going up in fire. What if you're at home asleep and this electric car is in your garage and it goes on and it catches on fire? What you gonna do? Nothing. You probably might think you're asleep and you smelling the smoke and thinking that you just remember when you was outside taking a barbecue and you're relaxing. By the time you wake up, the fire's already in your bedroom. Everybody else in your front room, your child's room, and everything else is gone. And you're the dummy sitting there talking about, well, I guess it's just part of it's just the result. Don't take, and then you know what they'll say to you as they giving you an insurance check with your family gone? You know what they'll say to you? Well, you know, it's just business. Don't take it personal. Well, you know, lives have been lost in the past due to new developments in technology. It's just business. Don't take it personal. Your child's no longer here. Maybe in the ER if they survive. And they'll tell you, well, it's just business. Because as stewardess of earth, y'all sit down like dummies, like the weak people that you are, and let other people underneath of money and business destroy your earth. And you do nothing about it until it's at your front door, or at least knocking down the people that you love. They've already showed you on your dumb phone around the country, even electric buses that they're trying to put into flow, just immediately catching on fire for no damn reason. Could you imagine? All it takes is for you to turn your back for a few minutes. The key is not in the ignition. It's off. Trust me, it's just electricity. It does that because it's a lot of electricity. It's a lot of power that this vehicle have to contain in its cells in order to get you to 300 miles, or for some cases 250, give or take. Y'all don't understand. It's not like a current that you have at home that comes from a battery box in a power plant that you can get it from that. Your house is not the power plant. It's just the conduit at the end. It's the point that can take the power, but it's not the point that contains the power. So you don't have that power plant at home. You get your power from the power plant. But if it was at home in your face and being contained in a container, it has problems. It's going to emit. There are pulses. There are things that can knock your electricity out of place and out of balance that can cause it to spark for no particular reason, because it's not made to be contained like that. It's human beings trying to contain the power, or you could say trying to contain power that is above themselves, just like trying to defeat Earth and trying to defeat the atmosphere, where you're making spaceships and rockets that eventually destroy themselves or knock itself out of orbit or explode right there in midair before your very faces. But you think you can drive a car that got just as much power and you're going to be safe while you're driving down the highway. Next thing you know, you see sparks, you see smokes, and you only got you only have a few seconds to jump out of that vehicle before it goes up in flame, you and your family. Because you didn't make that car, other people did. But you know what? You don't have to make it. You agreed. Meaning it's this: you are a accomplice. That's what you are. When a criminal does something and you're right along with the criminal and you know it and you buy into it, that means you're no different than they are. Both of you are going down according to the court system because you know about it. You as a witness, and you supported them when you could have reported them. So in the videos, it shows you a car catching on fire, which was an electric car, and they explain the firefighter department. I think they said, I don't want to get it wrong, I think they said 3,000 to 4,000 gallons of water just to put this vehicle out. And you know what else they also said about the electric vehicle? It continued to catch on fire. It continued. After they put it out one time, it ablazed again. Do you understand what kind of devastation this is going to be if this car is in your garage or near your house, or this bus is parked outside of your home or in a bus terminal and it catches on fire and there's 50 other buses next to it that are also electric in the building, and you have an apartment complex behind this bus terminal? Are you people out of your mind? Are you just willingly trying to commit? Are you willingly trying to your human race is trying to exterminate your own human race because y'all sit and you let it happen. You let it happen. And you're supposed to know these things. You are the people who are geniuses of the earth. Some of you got more degrees than I don't know what. You graduate from Harvard. You know this stuff. You know about electricity. You comprehend how the elements of the earth work. It's hard to contain it, and it's very toxic. It's very ignitable. It's very, very sensitive, but yet y'all want to live right next to it. You want to breathe and eat this stuff. This have nothing to do with God. This have nothing to do with revelations in the Bible. It's just because y'all don't want to be here no more, so you're deleting yourself. Y'all jumping into a pool of radiation and stupidity happily because you have no more interest in life anymore. So you creating stuff that's going to put you away. And so there's 2 other videos down there. I don't want to take up too much time. Two other videos. One of them is about I think it's about the robots that they're trying to bring into the industry as well. They're taking the gloves off now. I've already explained it to you that they were waiting on the situation to replace you. And they will always say, they said this on the headliners. They said, well, these robots aren't made to replace actual human workers. They're lying to you, ladies and gentlemen. They said that to you about other technologies. They said that about other infrastructure. They said that about other programs that they implemented into your society. It's called an encroachment. That's what they're doing. And the reason why they're doing it is because of the pandemic. The reason why they're doing it is because they know now is the time to bring in robots, because people are in fear of working. It's not that people don't need the job. They're going to come back to it. Teenagers need the job. Your kids might want that job. Other people might want that as a side job. But you know what? They're trying to take that position so they don't hire workers, so they can save money and boot you out, so they don't need you no more, to the point where when it's time for you to go back to your physical labor, you are insignificant. A robot took your place, and the only place you have is at home in front of your computer, where you could get fat, sloppy, out of shape, and become the average American that you usually are. Worthless. A slob. You're already on the brink of obesity. You already got high rates of heart palpitation, heart disease, depression, stress, low sexual drive. Men are getting, men are less inspired as they used to be. Women are more depressed than what they used to be, because most of them are in the job force now, are generally a lot of them. And some of them don't want to be, but they have to be now because of the way that your westernized world has systematically made a woman a taxpayer, or systematically put her in the front seat, and systematically have made her the number one buyer and consumer of a lot of products and things, so they can keep their taxes and their money consistently, or you could say currently, flowing in your society. So they thought this thing through. So therefore, you're working yourselves into a corner where you are booting out your human power, and you're giving that over to electricity and robots that will replace you. There's no such thing as would. It's will. It's already happening. They will replace you. Because you're already a transhuman as it is, because you have to live next to your computer. You got a computer on your wrist. You got a computer that you carry around everywhere. You got a computer underneath your skin called drugs and pharmaceuticals, techniques. You don't even understand how the world is operating, but yet you want to sit down in a lazy, comfortable lifestyle that's going to put you in a corner. It's called, I got a name for it, but let me describe it for you. It's like a hot frog syndrome. Okay? You put a hot frog in a pot of water and you turn on the heat. And the frog can jump out of the water, but it chooses not to. And then what you do is every now and then you push the frog down if it tries to jump out. You push it down through laws and fear and whipping them, shaming languages. Does that sound familiar? Shaming languages. Shaming them for every little thing. Oh, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't go home and be a housewife. You shouldn't be a man. Be a woman. No, you shouldn't be this and that. You shouldn't try to, and I'm not talking about LGBT, so shut your mouth. No, I'm talking about men who are masculine men are being prevented of being men. That's what I'm talking about. Okay? Shut your mouth. Because I know how you like to twist everything up to try to get you some views. So you can clip it all you want to. If you try to clip this out, you just make yourself a dumb liar, because they're going to say, wait a minute, that's not what he said, because you didn't wait to let him finish the sentence, dummy. I'm talking about the specific man and the specific woman. I don't get into the LGBT type of thing. I just talk about heterosexual conversations here. Men are being prevented of being men. Women are being prevented of being women. So every time they try to jump out of the hot water because they realize things are getting warm, they're ashamed to jump back in it. And everybody jumps back in it. And they'll say, well, this is the thing to do. The hot water is now, the temperature's a little bit hotter, but we got to deal with it. That's just the way the life works. It is what it is, right? Then eventually you continue to turn the hot water up, hotter and hotter and hotter, to where you don't even understand you being cooked alive. You're being cooked. Because eventually you get comfortable to that extreme temperature, but you'll do nothing about it. You can hop out of it. You can avoid their hands and just jump somewhere else. But you choose to be a fragile, weak, self-hating human being where you don't want to live. So you want your future in the existence of your kind to go extinct, because you do nothing about it. You allow this stuff to be created and you buy it. You live with it. You drink it. You lay next to it. You put it underneath your pillow. You put it on your door frame. You put it in your window. You put it in your office buildings. Okay, you put it around your neck. You don't care. It's just making your life easier. You know, it's the same story of Flowers in the Attic, where you're giving this boy cookies. It's so sweet, but poison is the powder that's been sprinkled on top of. But you're like, well, the cookie tastes good, as you're dying. And I got something else up there for you. I think there's a third video. It's going to be several videos. We're going to go over it later on in the far future. Well, like I said, it's going to be a series. I'm going to talk about it for the next 2 weeks. But these are going to be for you. There's also a video of teenagers. Yes. These are all what you got on your dumb phone. You looked these up already. You've had this available, but I'm the one talking about it. And it's fair use. Okay? I didn't play it. You can play it. It's on your description box. So you got a group of teenagers that are trying to break into a mansion or something like that. I think it was a mansion. I could be wrong, but I gotta look at it again. But they were breaking into a building, let's just say. A group of teenagers. Wait a minute. You never heard about this years ago. This didn't happen in 1970s, 80s, and 90s. Only a little bit after the year 2000, that's when stuff started happening and teenagers start going wild. Because I remember the early 2000s where there was teenagers at a mall, and they all had to be shuffled home by police officers and marshals because it was too many of us. About 100 teenagers. Wait a minute. 100 teenagers? Think about that. So you got teenagers now that are becoming criminals, breaking into buildings in groups. Where's the parents? That was planned. I got another video for you as well down there, and it's going to be later on in the future. But in this video, I visited one of my friends that I collaborate with every now and then. And I was walking up to his doorstep, and I just so happened to look across the street. I heard some people talking. I thought it was grown people, but it was kids, teenagers. Ladies and gentlemen, I seen a group of teenagers walking down the street in the middle of the day. And I took a video of them. And of course, there's no faces on there, but you see the teenagers, and there's several boys and several girls. And I guess one of them noticed me taking a picture of them. And instead of them just walking past and just, okay, somebody's taking a picture of us, no big deal, right? I didn't have a gun in my hand. I wasn't cursing them out. There was no middle finger. I didn't say anything. Just sitting there taking a picture like, okay. At a very far distance where I wasn't disturbing them. I was actually on the other side of the street. So there was no issue there. But you know what? I think you can hear in the video, you can hear one of the kids yelling out, what that we're looking at? What the F you looking at? Just irate for no reason. What else do you think I'm looking at? I'm not disturbing you. I'm not bothering you. I didn't poke you. You a group of teenagers walking down the sidewalk. Where is your parents? Where's your parents? And mind you, I'm not blaming I'm not poking fun, and I'm not judging anybody. But I'm going to tell you this with all facts. This is facts that you can look up for yourself. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just telling you. I'm going to let you figure it out for yourself. Did you know that the majority of families nowadays in America are single mother homes? Did you know that the mothers in America are the westernized shores of the world because of the modern day operation to push men aside? Did you know that more than 70 to 80%, they always give custody of the child, our children, over to the mother? Where is the breadcrumbs, ladies and gentlemen? Why is it a little after the year 2000 and going up where these teenagers begin to grow such an agitation to authority and rule? Because there's no authority and rule at home. Uh-oh. What did I just say? When you move the man, when you remove authority at home, these teenagers and kids don't have a sense of authority as they grow. Did I say all? I didn't say all. I said the majority. And generally, I didn't say all. Some survives. I know plenty of guys who was raised up by a single mother and are women. But because you was lucky enough to survive, that don't mean they did. But you know what? Don't take my word for it. It's on the video. Just ask yourself a question. What about the school shooters? Where were their mom and dad? Most times they wasn't with their dad. They were just with their mom. They'll tell you that by facts. That's research. Most times they were in a broken home or living out of a backpack. In this video, this is a current video that I just received today of these groups of teenagers that are attempting to break into this mansion. Where's your loyalty and your authority? Because I told you before, it's in the book that I wrote, 2020 America Rise or Fall Hard. It is planned because somebody feeds when there's disorder. Somebody eats when there's disorder. Somebody gets paid when there's disorder. Out of disorder, they're going to create something. They purposely tried to create this dissension on corporate soil so the corporations can start buying computers. They start creating this dissension in your car industry and transportation. So guess what? The computers and your electric cars can come in and do what they have always did. Take lives. And you may think right now, you would say, well, I looked up the statistics and not a lot of people have been hurt with these electric cars or them catching the blaze. Just think how dumb of a statement that will be if you say something like that. Because if they show you this can be done, if this car is in a junkyard, or if this car is sitting on the side of the road, or if it's a major transportation, what makes you think that it's not going to be you when you're asleep at home and you got your electric car outside of your house? And you get this big, uncomfortable knock and slam at the door because the firefighters and the next door neighbors and people are telling you to wake up because everything outside is on fire because of you and your smart ass self. And now you got to pay a buttload of money and your insurance got to take care of all the damages that are done outside. Why would you go through that? Why is that insignificant? And you know what's so funny about that? Fire is so dangerous where it won't stop there. It'll touch your house. Because some of our parking lots, some of our garages is right there on our house. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to prevent you from getting hurt. I told you about my channel. I prevent. That's what I do. I warn and I prevent. I wake you up in the middle of the night and say, hey, wake up because I care about you and your kids. Why would you wait until it happens for you to figure it out? And that's another thing about human beings that is a very funny thing. Y'all need to punch your face right into the wall before you realize a wall is there. Usually I get when older parents and parents always say, well, I can't talk to my teenager because they're not going to listen anyway. I can understand. I can understand because you get tired of explaining yourself to them when they're going to do it anyway. which isn't going to do nothing but stress you out because they're going to want to experiment anyway. I get it. But it's better to say something. Get it off your chest. Even if they're going to do it anyway, warn them anyway. So therefore, whenever they run into the wall and their face is bleeding, they can't say nobody warned them that there was a blockade there. If you told them that the parachute is not going to deploy, don't jump, because millions have jumped and they have died. If you warned them not to do it and they decide to do it anyway, you won't feel guilty when they're flying out of that dumb situation or whatever situation that they were in, thinking that everything's okay, and they flop downwards and they no longer exist. You don't have to go to their funeral and cry. You can say, well, I did what I could. The guilt is not on my shoulders. If you believe in God, some of you do believe, because that's all you can do. You don't know, you just believe. Knowing is hard for you to understand what that means, because if you know, that means you need evidence, and you don't. We're not going to get into that. Some of y'all already turned upside down. What do you mean? Here you go, talking about God all over again. No. Some of you who do think of an existing God, which is a joke and a half, okay, already gave you the information that you need. So therefore, you don't have to be guilty in the face of your God if you warned somebody and they went ahead and hurt themselves anyway. You can still stand proud and stick your chest out because you did your job. You told them not to go, they went anyway. As long as you explain to them thoroughly. And I'm trying to do that for you. So you got these videos, look them up on your description box. And therefore, you will know I am not BSing with you. I mean business. I'm serious about people in your lives. I'm serious about prevention. But you know what? There's no guilt on my behalf. There's no blood on my hands, because you know what I can say? I did my job. I did my job. I spoke to people. Yes, I did. I helped. I did what I can do. People just don't want to listen. All right. That's on you. So when you go out of extinction, so when this world becomes, just imagine, let me stop right here because I don't want to take up too much time. Just think about this. Did you know that there were some people, I would say generations ago, who tried to warn us about what we're doing today and what's going on today? Did you know that? Did you know that years ago, people were doing what I'm doing right now, and we are still here because of the lazy-mindedness of the average human being? Because you don't care about yourself, nor your child's future, or your own future at that. So now you got millions of people today that are saying, man, this world is crazy. Oh my God, you got the pandemic. Woo, you got all these mass deletions or shootings. You got all this drama. You got the Capitol being, being bombarded. You got all, man, this world is going to hell. You know, you have people saying that. And then you have another people on the other side of the river saying, man, if we can go back to the old times, and man, I remember and I wish that, man, woo, things were differently, and we're at a time where the world is going to hell. And no. I want you to stop right there. No, y'all made it happen. No, you're the blame. No, you wanted it because you did nothing about it. No, nah. You've been warned, so suffer the consequences. Suffer the consequences. It's dumb for somebody to tell you that the train track is out miles in advance and you still stay on that train track, because that means you don't want to be here. And in the name of money, greed, and filth, you go down that track anyway, just because you're getting extra dollar bills in your pocket and get some type of infrastructure or money. And guess what? By the expenditure of lives, by the casualties of your businesses, your robotics and electronic devices, by your lack of insight and future sight, millions of people pass away, and you will too, because the derailment isn't just for them, it's going to reach you eventually. Because that same world that you let go up in flames, that flame is going to reach you. It's going to permeate your life in one form or another. Because guess what? It don't have to be your child. Let me go there. It don't have to be your child that's doing that in the school building. It can be somebody else's child, different culture, a different time. And guess what? Your child have nothing to do with the situation, and they're gone because you, as a individual or a person, done nothing about it. Sat down on your flat butt and thought your world was cake and cookies. And Leon C. Morpheus is full of BS, and he don't know what he's talking about until it actually happens. Until half your house is burnt down, until you lose somebody precious to you, then you're going to want to say something. Then you think, oh my God, he was serious. I've been serious. I've been serious decades ago. Guys before me have been serious decades ago. Y'all just don't listen. So it takes jumping off, falling down, busting your face on something to realize there's a ground down there that your parachute will not deploy. That's 99% of the time. But you know what? It don't matter, because as I speak, robotics is everywhere. Your electricity, your electric cars are everywhere. It don't matter, because y'all going to keep going. Electric lawnmowers, electric doors, push button here. Go ahead. Go ahead and surround yourself with what's going to delete you eventually. Go ahead. I mean, we're already transhumanists as it is. So that's your free will. Again, if God was speaking, he'll say, well, you have free will to live, but you chose to delete yourself. You chose not to be here. So you built a world that eventually is going to swallow you whole in plastic, electric flames. Check out the description box, and we will continue this series later on this week.